Life has always been intertwined with sibling rivalry, but my sister Abigail seemed to take it to a whole new level. You see, before I met my husband Felix, the three of us, being my mother, Abigail, and I, were living under the same roof. It was when I got married that I moved out, but Abigail was still unmarried and continued to live with our mother. I am grateful that I got to be away from them, especially my sister, who's known for her sticky fingers. Living with her was hell because things will suddenly go missing because of her knack for stealing. Just like that time with my snack. One day, as I eagerly set up the living room for a relaxing movie marathon night, I couldn't help but feel a burst of excitement. I had been looking forward to this moment of unwinding and indulgence all week. Just as I settled onto the couch, ready to press play, I reached for the bag of my favorite snacks, only to find it empty. My heart sank as I realized that Abigail had struck again. Oh, seriously? I grumbled. My excitement is deflating like a balloon. I had picked and saved those snacks for my movie night, but because of Abigail's habit of rummaging through the pantry and snatching whatever caught her eye, I am left with nothing to munch on. Feeling annoyed, I decided to confront her about it. I found her in the kitchen, casually sipping on her favorite drink. Abby, did you take my snacks? Oh, were those yours? I didn't know. I thought they were for everyone. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. Well, they were mine and I was saving those for this exact moment. It's not cool to take things without asking. She shrugged nonchalantly, clearly not bothered by my frustration. Chill out, Amelia. It's just snacks. I'll get you some more next time. I sighed, knowing that she will never do that and that arguing with her about it wouldn't lead anywhere. I decided to let it go, hoping that maybe this time she would learn to respect my belongings. But just when I thought things couldn't get worse, it did. I found my favorite dress missing from my closet a few days earlier. It was the one with a beautiful floral print that I had been saving for a special occasion. My heart sank as I searched high and low for it, but it was nowhere to be found. I had a sinking feeling that Abigail was at it again, stealing things that does not belong to her. I knew the snacks incident wasn't the last time she would ever do it. I sighed, realizing that my closet became a target for her clandestine raids. I walked out of my room and into the living room, clearly disappointed. Hi, sis. You look stressed. Looking for something? Yeah, my black dress with the floral print. Have you seen it? I was going to use it tonight. I have an important event. Oh, yeah, that one. I borrowed it for a party. It's in the wash. I looked for my dress in the wash and I saw it wrinkled beyond recognition, with a big tear at the hem. I felt my blood boil as I confronted Abigail again, hoping for an explanation. Abby, what have you done? What happened to my dress? You've ruined it. Oops, I forgot to tell you about that. The party was so wild and things got a little messy. Just sew that and it will be good to go. No need to panic. I couldn't believe the lack of remorse in her voice. It was clear that she didn't see the problem with taking my things without permission and returning them damaged. It was time to have a serious conversation with her about boundaries and respect. Abby, this has to stop. What you're doing isn't funny. It's not cool to take things without asking. Besides, you have your own wardrobe, you know. Why are you attacking me on this? What's the big deal? The big deal is that it's super disrespectful, it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to our relationship as sisters. Oh, please, you're always such a drama queen. As frustrated as I was, I decided to take the high road and not let her bait me into an argument. As I returned to my room, I couldn't help but feel a mix of frustration and sadness. I loved my sister, but her constant disregard for my boundaries was taking a toll on our relationship. Now that I have my own house separate from them, I thought I'd be safe from my sister's sticky fingers, but it turns out I was terribly wrong. One evening, as Felix and I were ready for bed, he brought up a topic that had been on his mind for a while.
Hey, miss, can I ask you something?
Sure. What's on your mind, babe?
How come you never invite me to have dinner with your family? Is there a reason for that, or are you just embarrassed of me?
I felt a knot tighten in my stomach as I tried to find the right words to explain my hesitation. The truth was, I had been avoiding having Felix around when Abigail was present, but even I knew it was a silly reason. Alright, don't laugh at me, okay? It's just that Abigail has a habit of taking things that don't belong to her. I have caught her borrowing my stuff without asking a million times, and it has caused tension between us. I guess I'm just worried that if you two met, she might threaten our relationship and try to create more problems.
Mess, I understand your worries, but you know I can handle myself. I'm a grown and happily married man. Besides, I want to be part of our life. And that includes being around your family.
I appreciated his reassurance, but the fear of Abigail causing trouble lingered in the back of my mind. I didn't want Abigail to steal something from me again, not this time, but I didn't want to let my husband feel left out. You're right, I'm being silly. Of course, I want them to meet you. Let's plan a dinner with them soon. As long as we are at our house, I would feel safe enough.
Sounds like a plan. I promise I'll handle it with respect, and I'm sure everything will be fine.
As we went to sleep, I felt a sense of relief and comfort in knowing that I had Felix by my side. With his support, I knew I could face any situation, even if it involved my troublesome sister. Finally, the night of the dinner with my family arrived. As I nervously set the table, I still couldn't shake the unease I felt about having Abigail around. As the doorbell rang, I took a deep breath and greeted my family with a warm smile. Felix and I stood side by side, ready to welcome everyone into our home. I looked at my sister Abigail and my heart sank again. She was dressed in a way that seemed deliberate, showing off a lot of skin and cleavage, seemingly trying to attract attention. I glanced at Felix, and to my dismay, I noticed a change in his demeanor. He seemed visibly drawn to Abigail, and was evident that he found her attractive. My fears began to creep back, and I felt a surge of protectiveness over my husband. As Abigail approached, I mustered the courage to pull my husband closer to my side, hoping to send a subtle message that I wouldn't allow her to come between us. I leaned in and whispered, "Keep your hands to yourself. He's mine." "I don't even know what you're so worried about." I forced a smile, trying not to let her get under my skin. Throughout the dinner, I observed her attempts to flirt and get Felix's attention, from repeatedly asking him to pass her several things to asking him lots of questions with intensive eye contact. It was uncomfortable and frustrating, but I didn't want to cause a scene in front of my mother. I continued to keep an eye on my sister's behavior. At one point, I noticed her subtly brushing her leg against Felix's under the table. My heart pounded with anger and hurt as I realized what was happening. She's definitely trying to flirt with my husband, but what disappointed me most is that my own husband seemingly enjoyed the attention. It felt like a slap in the face that Felix would allow her advances to happen right in front of me. He didn't even try to move his leg away from his own leg. He just lets it happen. I couldn't just ignore the commotion happening under us, so I gave my husband a death stare. He finally understood the gravity of the situation. He became more reserved and cautious in his interactions with my sister, avoiding any opportunity for inappropriate behavior. After long hours of suffering, the dinner has come to an end. Felix and I escorted them out of the house. After bidding farewell to my family, I couldn't just let Abigail go without saying a word to her, so I leaned in and whispered, "I knew what you were doing with my husband. You better stop it right now, Abigail." "What's the matter? You said to keep my hands to myself. You didn't say anything about feet." She joked, but I wasn't amused. I just gave her a deadly glare for her insensitive remark. Before leaving, Abigail claimed that she had forgotten her scarf inside our house. Desperate for her to just go away, I agreed to retrieve it for her quickly. I looked for it everywhere inside the house, but I couldn't find it, so I went back outside to ask her about it. But as I returned to the door, my worst fears were confirmed. There they were, my husband and Abigail locked in a passionate kiss. I pushed my own sister hard that she fell to the ground. "I told you to stop stealing from me, Felix. Get inside now." But to my shock, he just stood there, looking torn and conflicted. "What are you doing, Felix?" I said, "Get away from her and get inside now." At that moment, it became painfully clear that he had made his choice and it wasn't me. I turned away, unable to bear the sight of them any longer. The pain was too much to handle, and I knew I couldn't force him to stay with me if he didn't want to. I can't believe I lost something to my own sister again, and this time it was my own husband. I also couldn't believe how my husband could choose her over our marriage in a blink of an eye. The month that followed were some of the most difficult, challenging times of my life. The pain of betrayal weighed heavily on my heart, and I knew that I needed time and space to heal and find myself again. The house felt empty and hollow, echoing with the memories of a happier time. So I took a step back from everything and everyone, retreating into solitude as I worked on rebuilding my shattered sense of self. I sought therapy to help me navigate through the complex emotions and trauma. It was also during one of these months of self-discovery that I received the news of my mother's sudden passing due to an accident. The pain of losing her was another blow, and I found myself grappling with grief and loss on top of the heartache I was already experiencing. As the executor's meeting for my mother's will approached, I knew that I would eventually have to face Abigail and Felix again. It's a daunting prospect, but it's also a necessary step in closing this chapter of my life. As the will was read, the atmosphere in the room grew tense. The lawyer's voice echoed through the silence.
"And as per your late mother's wishes, her entire estate, including all properties and assets, is bequeathed to her daughter Amelia for her unwavering dedication and care during her final years."
It became clear that our mother had seen through Abigail's facade. My mother left me as the sole heir of her inheritance. It's such a substantial amount of money and valuable assets that it could change the course of one's life. "Amelia, this is unfair. How can you take everything? We're sisters." Mom made her decision, and unlike you, I did not even have to steal it. It was given to me. I couldn't help but feel grateful for my mother's recognition of my love and care despite having to move out from her house. Abigail was clearly not prepared for this outcome. "Seriously? Aren't the punches I landed on her face enough to get her to think clearly?" Her words hung heavily in the air, unintentionally revealing a disturbing truth. "What punches? What are you talking about?" "Oh, nothing. I just can't believe she would give you everything. It doesn't make sense. You left us alone in her house and I accompanied her."
"Wait, hold on. Is that why whenever I come home my mother has mysterious bruises on her face too? Abigail, how could you? You said those were simply signs of aging."
"You guys always leave me with the elderly. You don't know how annoying they can get. It's not my fault. It's hard to take care of them."
That's not an excuse.
As the truth of my sister's abusive behavior towards the two mothers and her attempts to manipulate the situation became apparent, Flex's regret grew heavier with each passing moment. He couldn't believe he had been blind by Abigail's true nature and had chosen her over me. When the executor's meeting was over, he rushed towards me desperately, tears streaming down his face, and fell to his knees before me.
"Amelia, I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I chose the wrong sister. I should have seen through her lies and manipulations. I regret what I did. Please, please, forgive me. Please, please take me back. I miss you so much, and I can't bear to be without you."
"You had your chance, Felix. You chose her over me. And I won't let myself be hurt like that again. I deserve better."
"I know, and I regret it every single day. I can't believe I let someone like her come between us."
You can't just crawl back into my life like nothing happened. Felix, what you did was unforgivable. I need to move on and you should too. Stand up and let's go, Felix. Don't be so pathetic. You're just boosting her ego. Let's go home. With that, Felix stood up, but surprisingly, he turned away from Abigail's voice that was calling him from a distance. Instead, he walked away from her towards his own path, leaving her behind. I watched him disappear from view. In the end, I didn't have to resort to stealing or deception because what was rightfully hers came to me graciously, while my sister Abigail was left with nothing. The money, material possessions, and even her own husband slipped through her fingers like sand. Poor thing's sticky fingers got her ending up in a sticky situation.